Yo, you watch the video right now. Drop a like in the next 5 seconds for a week of good luck. All right, what is happening? How's everybody doing today? My name is Chuck, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we're going to be jumping into, of course, another top 5 most overpowered guns for you guys to use here in Modern Warfare. I really haven't made a Modern Warfare top 5 here in a minute, so I'm super excited to show you guys my new top 5 most overpowered classes. Quick reminder, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys drop a like on today's video and subscribe with all notifications turned on. We're on the road to 700,000 subscribers, and it'd be awesome if you join the squad. That'd be amazing. Also, let me know down in the comment section below, what is your go-to gun to use here in Modern Warfare? Okay, so let's start off this top 5 here with a gun that I personally really enjoy, which is actually going to be the AS Val. The AS Val is a really solid gun to use, and I'm very excited to be able to show you guys this one because, you know, it kills unbelievably quick here in multiplayer, and it's also really good in Warzone, and I should definitely probably cover that here again in a future video. Let's actually jump into a class here with this gun. So first thing we're going to do is, because it's got an integral suppressor on it, you can't ever take that off. We're going straight into the barrel section here. So we have a few different options in here: the VLK 105mm Sova, the Stavel SOF barrel, and the VLK 200mm OSA barrel. We're basically only going to rock the VLK 200mm OSA barrel for that damage range, bullet velocity. There's no point to actually run these other two in here. They just don't really make sense. You don't really need to increase your ADS speed. You don't really want to, increase your aim down sight speed and your movement speed. You want to just increase that damage range and bullet velocity. So this is going to be the attachment I'm going to recommend for you guys to run on your AS Val. Next up, actually, in the underbarrel section, keeping it pretty simple, we have a few different options here that we can really go with, either the Merc foregrip or the Ranger foregrip. I wouldn't really suggest the Commando, just because you want to be able to take people out at, a little bit more sustained fire. And even though this thing really is only going to have about 30 rounds in the magazine, you still want to be able to have more recoil control and, of course, better hip fire accuracy. So for that reason, we're going with the Merc foregrip here for that recoil control and hip fire accuracy benefit. This is going to be super solid. I always run the Merc foregrip on my AS Val, and you guys should definitely run this as well. So this thing actually only comes with about 20 round stock, which is absolutely abysmal for, super fast fire rate, AR, even though it's technically not really an AR. It's kind of like a hybrid AR SMG. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It comes with 20 rounds for a fully automatic weapon, so we want to do our best to bump this up here as much as we possibly can. And we only have a 30 round magazine as our top option here, so you guys need to run the 30 round magazine. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you feel like you can get away without running it, I mean, more power to you. I don't know how you're doing it. You're probably really not that good of a player if you're not using the 30 round magazine, so I'm just going to tell you this right now: throw in the 30 round magazine. You need to use it. There's just nothing else you should really consider running on the ammunition side of things. Now for the rear grip, just because this gun has a bit of some interesting recoil to it, it's not like super easy to control, but you can definitely control it with just a tad bit of help. We're actually going to go with the rubberized grip tape here for that recoil control, and I normally always say go for the stippled, but we really actually want to be able to make sure that we can control that recoil and hit some of them shots, because it kills super quick. But I mean, what's the point of actually having a gun that kills super quick if you can't hit your shots? I mean, that's, and you only got 30 rounds in the magazine. You don't really have that many shots to spare when you're trying to take somebody out, so you need to make sure every single shot is hitting, and that's what the rubberized grip tape is going to do for you. Last but definitely not least, in the stock category here, we're going to go all the way down to the Stavel 6P30 Skeleton stock for that aim locking movement speed and that aim down sight speed. This is going to be my final attachment for the AS Val. This thing is really good, especially if you're playing some multiplayer. If you're playing some Warzone, maybe not as much, but if we're playing multiplayer, we want to be able to move around, be a little bit more agile. I should definitely say the Stavel SP30 Skeleton. I don't know what type of name that is. I mean, I really have no idea. But anyways, this is an amazing attachment. I always run this on my AS Val, and you guys should definitely check this out. This is an amazing gun. Super overpowered. Super good. You guys definitely need to try this out if you're not using it already. Next up here on my top 5 is actually going to be the FAL. So I actually do a lot of work with the FAL. I really love the FAL just because it's basically a 2-shot kill as long as you're actually able to hit those shots. In my case, I can actually hit those shots, so I just delete with this thing. I have a decent trigger finger as well, so I really like using this thing. But for that reason, let's actually jump in here right to the muzzle category, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to go down to the bottom here, add on the monolithic suppressor, sound suppression, damage range, basically the two things you really want out of your suppressor here. The mono is the best suppressor in the entirety of Modern Warfare. There's no reason to use anything else. Like I always say, if you do not have the mono, add on the tactical, but never run the lightweight. The last thing you want to do in this game is decrease your damage range, and that's, we're definitely not trying to do that here. So run the mono. You're going to thank me later. It's the best suppressor in the entire game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just run it. For the barrel, there's basically only about one option that I consider viable, and that's the XRK Marksman barrel. Damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, the trifecta, as I always like to call it. The three things you want out of our barrel. It's going to be the heaviest barrel you can possibly get. There's no reason to run, the OSW Para. We're not trying to make this, a lighter gun or like the 18.0 ultralight. We're really not trying to do that. I mean, you're losing bullet velocity here. I mean, you're just trying to make this thing hit as hard as it possibly can. So the XRK Marksman marksman, it's going to be the barrel to do that for you. In the underbarrel section, kind of depending on which type of build you want to go for, you can basically get away with rocking the commando foregrip, but for me personally, I ended up actually going with the Merc foregrip here for that recoil control and that hipfire accuracy. I really like the way I'm able to kind of condense my hipfire spread when I'm actually using this gun. It allows me to get caught less off guard in closer quarter situations because this is a single fire gun. It's not like it's, a fully automatic gun, but even then, I mean, you still want to be able to kind of condense that hipfire and just a little bit, and the Merc foregrip will definitely do that for you, especially were to have a tad bit more recoil on this build. If like we were to run the commando, you'd have too much recoil, but because of this build being, super high in mobility, you're gonna have a tad bit more recoil, but the Merc foregrip entirely balances that out, and same with the XRK marksman barrel. So you definitely should run the Merc, not the commando, for this build in specific. So this gun has about 20 rounds stock, I believe. I haven't ran the stock magazine in forever. You basically get the 24 round here, which is, okay, it's only an extra 4 rounds, and then you have to actually get the 30 round magazine, which is gonna be what we're gonna go with. There's no reason you should ever not run this. Like, you always need to run the 30 round magazine on the FAL. If you don't run it, I don't really know what you're doing. You're missing out. The 30 round magazine is the best you'll ever get out of this thing. You always need to run this. Last but definitely not least, in the stock category, we're going straight for the no stock attachment. Movement speed, aim down sight speed. This is like what I was talking about with getting a bit more recoil. If you're running the commando foregrip on here, it may not be as controllable and as nice of a gun to use, but because we have the Merc on here, it's going to help with that recoil. It actually really does come together as a very, very solid build in my opinion, and I really like using this thing. So this is my full FAL build. You guys definitely need to try this out. I made a video on this here about a week or so ago, and man, I was slapping with it. Dropped the nuke. If you guys want to see that, go check it out on the channel, but this is a super, super awesome gun. Okay, next up in here is actually going to be the Grau 5.56. This is kind of a gun that I feel like I almost neglected using for a long time. I was like, man, so I like, what is my go-to AR for me? And I was always going for the M4, when in reality, I should have definitely been picking up the Grau as well. So this is a really awesome gun. I've really started to kind of re-fall in love with it here in multiplayer and even in Warzone. So let's actually jump into this. First thing is first, obviously, mono suppressor, sound suppression, damage range. I really don't got to talk about that too much, or you guys know it's the best suppressor in the entire game. Next up, we're going to the barrel section here, and we're basically have 2 options in here that are actually viable. So we have the Tempest 26.4 Archangel, and then we have the 20.8 Nexus barrel. Even then, I should really say that you only got about 1 option that I would classify as really good, and that's the 26.4 Archangel barrel. This is going to give you the most premium of the damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. I just always run this no matter what. Now, they did happen to nerf kind of the Grau and, the barrels a little bit a while back, and so I used to always run the Nexus because I thought it was incredible and it gave me a little bit more mobility, but I really don't feel like that's the case anymore. I feel like you need to run the Archangel, and it's got that beautiful iron sight on it, which is basically one of the clearest iron sights in the entire game, so always run this barrel. In the underbarrel section, a pretty early level unlock where to go with here is the commando foregrip. You really don't got to recoil control this too much. I mean, the Grau is not going to bounce around crazy. It's not like it's a Ram 7 or something like that. I mean, it's just got a pretty manageable recoil in my opinion, even if you have a no stock on there. I mean, just throwing the commando, you're going to be plenty fine. This is just more than enough to take care of any of the recoil you're going to get on the Grau 5.56. For the ammunition side of things here, there's a couple of different options you can go with here. I mean, some people like to go with the 50 round magazine. If you watch the channel, I go with the 60 round magazine because I'm a 60 round magazine kind of guy. This is the type of guy I am. I always go with 60 because that's the way my guns feel right, and I just like the way it feels. 60 rounds in my mag just is what it is. I always drop, my most insane gameplays. My guns just feel the best when I have 60. And honestly, I mean, I just feel like 60 is a good, number to have in the magazine. You can take out multiple people before you need to reload. Sometimes I feel like with 50, I'm like, man, that's really not that far, about 30. But 60, I'm like, okay, now I got double the rounds in the mag. I'm good to go. So I'm just saying, rock 60. For the stock here, you guys are just going to go into this section, and we're going all the way down to the very bottom to rock the no stock attachment. Movement speed, aim down sight speed. This is gonna make this thing an absolute tank in multiplayer. You guys are gonna dominate with it. I mean, they did kind of nerf the no stock a while back, but man, oh man, it's still incredibly good. You guys definitely need to give this Grau build a shot. I really have a lot of fun using this gun. I mean, it's just so good. It hits incredibly hard, and there's hardly any recoil to it. You really can't get much better than that. Like, seriously, you can't. Okay, so this is going to be a top 5 without talking to you guys a little bit about the MP5 here. I actually made a video about the MP5 recently. I've ran it with Specialist. I've ran it with Assault. I mean, you can definitely run it in a variety of different ways, but it's definitely still good. So let's actually jump into this. We're going to skip over to the muzzle category because there's a regular mono suppressor, and then there's the integrated. We're going straight for the barrel section, we're going to go for the monolithic integral suppressor, sound suppression, bullet velocity, and of course, I think it has this hidden property where you're able to, kind of, get rid of some of the tracers, which is definitely awesome. Personally, I haven't looked too much into that, but people in the comments always like to tell me about that, so that kind of is what it is. Anyways, I think this is actually just genuinely a tad bit better than the mono that goes on the end of your gun. I'm not exactly really sure why there's not, like, more benefits to the mono on the end of the gun versus, the monolithic integral. I just don't really know why they gave us both those options, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. Anyways, just run this barrel. Next up in your honor barrel section, we're just going to go straight down here and rock the Merc foregrip. We're going for that recoil control, hipfire accuracy. I can't tell you how many times the Merc foregrip has come in clutch on this gun in specific, because, I mean, you just get in those situations where you're up close and personal in somebody's space, and, like, you just need to be able to bring that gun up, hip fire a little bit, get that kill, and, move on and go about your business to hopefully get your next, specialist streak, or get your next, kill streak, whatever it may be. You just want to be able to keep the, keep the momentum going, and the Merc foregrip is definitely going to help you do that. Next up in the ammunition side, there's kind of been a debate. Last time I made a video on this, I used a 10mm auto 30 round magazine, but I still should say that I am indeed a bigger fan of the 45 round magazine. It just kind of is what it is. I feel like it is just a better overall option. It's a better alternative. Some people like really rocking the 10mm auto 30 round, but I mean, I still find incredibly good success, and I've dropped way more nukes with the 45 round mag. And so I'm just gonna say you guys should definitely use this. It also, I feel like you run out of ammo less quick, and also more people are prone to using the 45 round mag as opposed to the 10mm one, so you're gonna pick up a lot more ammo off the ground, which is definitely a huge benefit. And I found that when I was using the 10mm rounds, I was not picking up hardly any ammo off the ground, and I definitely need to make sure that my ammo supply box is coming through, because otherwise I just basically wasn't getting any ammo running assault. And I know not everyone's running specialist trying to drop a nuke, so I should say for the, the greater good, the more ease of use, the 45 round mag. Now let's actually jump into the stock category. We're gonna go all the way down to the very bottom and use the F-Tac collapsible here for movement speed, aim down sight speed. This is really good. I always like the F-Tac collapsible. I think this is a fantastic attachment. It's really good in my opinion. I just like the overall mobility I get with it. This of course will help you bring up your gun a little bit faster. It'll give you a little bit more movement, so you're gonna be able to hip fire a little bit better. I mean, you're just gonna be able to run around. You're just gonna be going around like an absolute maniac. It's gonna be great. Run the F-Tac collapsible. Last but not least, we're going to be using a perk here, and that's just going to be sleight of hand. I actually really like running sleight of hand on the MP5 in particular. I don't really run, a perk on really most of my other guns, and the reason I can do it on this gun is because the mono suppressor is integral, so I feel like I have a barrel and a suppressor. So I'm like, okay, what thing do I have left? If I'm running assault streaks, I'm always going to run a perk or something like that, because I really don't feel like I need another attachment. But if I'm running specialist, of course, then I'll go add on like maybe something like a stippled grip tape or something like that, because of course then I'm gonna get sleight of hand on my specialist bonus, and it's pointless of me having it all the way up until the specialist bonus. So because we're running assault, run sleight of hand. If you are not running assault and you're running specialist, go throw on like a stippled grip tape and you'll be fine that way as well. But run the sleight of hand on this thing. This is in a beast setup, running assault, running around there in those close quarters maps, something like shoot the ship or anything else like that. It's definitely super awesome. Give it a shot. Okay, and now we're actually going to be into the M4A1 here. I got to finish off the top 5 with an M4A1. And to be honest with you guys, I was actually using this in a completely different way than when I've been using the M4A previously. I was playing a lot of shoot the ship in those close quarters game modes, and I was like, man, like, what do I even need a suppressor on my gun for? These people are going to basically know where I am kind of regardless, and I was playing a decent amount of shipment, so I was like, okay, let's actually not run a suppressor on this gun, and let's actually make this just geared towards, like, just taking people out unbelievably quick. So let's actually jump into this. The first thing we're gonna do, we're skipping over the muzzle entirely. We're going straight into the barrel, and we're actually gonna go ahead and rock the Corvus custom marksman on this thing. Damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. Of course, it doesn't give you as much as the stock M16 Grenadier barrel, but that's entirely okay. We're not necessarily going for a maximum on all those things. We would rather have a bit more mobility, and this will be perfectly fine for multiplayer. If you're playing Warzone, go rock the stock M16 barrel. That's gonna be better for that. But for multiplayer, you can definitely get away with rocking the Corvus custom marksman. It is a very solid attachment choice. I mean, on the M4A1, we really don't got to get too crazy with this at all. Like, seriously, just rock the Commando foregrip. It's easy, it's simple, and it's very early level unlock. I mean, everybody should have the Commando foregrip. I don't really know what you're doing if you do not have this. For the ammunition side of things, I'm not even going to explain this too much. I mean, seriously, like, you don't ever want to use these bottom two. They're absolutely trash. Don't ever use them. Seriously, if somebody tries to tell you these things are good, unless they get, like, broken in an update or something like that, they are not good. Don't ever use these. Seriously, these bottom two are garbage. Don't use them. Just rock a 60 round magazine. I'm a 60 round magazine kind of guy. I'm rocking a 60-round magazine. It's just how it is, so we're throwing this on there. For the rear grip, we're actually gonna go in here, get ourselves a little bit more mobility. Stipple grip tape, baby. Aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, absolutely incredible. Works perfectly on this gun. You guys should just rock this on most of your guns anyways. Stippled is such a great attachment. Stippled is almost a staple to my builds. Seriously, no kind of like weird pun or, you know, tongue twister intended. It's just staple to my builds. Last but definitely not least, something you guys basically never see from me, and that's actually rocking a perk. And we're going straight here to sleight of hand on this thing because I was just running around shipment going absolutely nutty with this, and I was rocking sleight of hand. I was like, holy crap, like this is kind of insane here. Like normally I only get sleight of hand if I'm rocking specialist bonus, and I was like, wait, now I'm able to just run around, go a little bit kind of crazy with these assault streaks in here, and I can reload super quick. I mean, I was feeling kind of, you know, I was feeling myself a little bit with that. So the sleight of hand here is going to be awesome. You guys definitely should try this out. Unfortunately, the Kingly Splendor doesn't, you know, give me more gold on this gun. A little bit weird, I know, but it is what it is. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been a really cool top 5. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys drop a like on today's video, subscribe with all notifications turned on, and also make sure you guys comment down in the comment section below. With that being said, I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow with a brand new video. Just sort of triple cap, don't be a Randy, and I'm out. Peace.